Hi, my name is Simon Hedley, known to my clients and partners as a strategic alchemist and an ultimate connector. I'm a chartered accountant who brings together and bridges the worlds of business philosophy, finance, marketing, optimization, ontology, and so much more. Always focused on one thing, the simple idea that can make the difference to people and projects so we can tip the scales in their favor and get them complete. Pause, Stop, Reset is all about the three little words that can make the difference. They have for me and my clients, and I hope they will for you too. During the show, you'll get to learn about my guests' real-life experiences and the insights and lessons they've learned as they've navigated the resets in their personal and business lives, which you'll be able to leverage yourself. So let's start the show. Welcome back to Pause, Stop, Reset, the podcast where we explore the moments in life that lead to breakthroughs, growth, and transformation. I'm Simon Hedley. Today, I'm thrilled to be joined by my friend, the incredible Krystalore Crews. She's a powerhouse of resilience and inspiration, a wellness coach, marathon coach, motivational speaker, a veteran, and a former NFL cheerleader, and so many, many more things. She's over 20 years of experience leading and empowering others. She's a shining example of what it means to own your journey, overcome challenges, and thrive. And I really think it's been an amazing conversation. I got to know her the last 12 months or so, and I'm really excited to share her with you, her insights and gifts. So without further ado, Krystalore, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Simon. Great to be here.
And I'm in sunny UK. It's not that sunny. And you're over in the gorgeous Puerto Rico, which hopefully I'll be at in a few months' time. Thank you for joining us today. So I know you quite well over the last 12 months, getting to meet you and get to know you a little bit. But for people that don't know you yet, haven't cut with your resets, who are you and what do you focus on today?
Yeah, so I think ultimately at its core, resilience and identity and transformation, and really that has been the core of who I am. And I do believe that everything that I've gone through and grown through has led me to today. So from being an NFL cheerleader to being wheelchair bound to 22 years in the military, several different leadership certifications, to be able to put all of the things that I enjoy of travel, fitness, wellness, nutrition, mindfulness, and community to be able to design the life that I desire. And so there's a lot of bumps and bruises along the way, literally and figuratively. And I just really love to help people shorten the time period of self-doubt and overwhelm and be able to share my stories and my gifts and the tangible strategies that, that helped me move through. And so that's when I put my 2 feet down every single day, that's what I love to do, is just help people, with just live happier and healthier.
When I first met you, your card was like people strategist. And it was like, I like that. And so you've got this sort of real people understanding. And then there's this physical bit of, as we may get to later on, about running marathons, and from being wheelchair bound to running not just one or two, but loads of them. There's a whole thing that's gone on for you. So this question we sort of open with about what are the shifts and resets you've been through? What are those? What are the biggest shifts and resets you've been through in your life?
Yeah, so I think I want to start with one of the most profound, which enabled me to start my business. So back in 2017, I moved away. I met the man of my dreams, and we were both in the military, just climbing our careers, and his military position moved us away. And so he got orders. He was in the Army, and I had to resign my full-time position in the Army. I was in the Air Force, he was in the Army. So anyways, the two programs don't align when it comes to military spouses. And so one spouse has to take the back seat, basically. And so we chose as a couple that my full-time career would take a pause. And I ended up moving with him so he could fulfill his full-time role in the military, and I went part-time. So we moved away from my friends, my family, my career, with a big leap of faith so that he could fulfill his role in the military. And so through that process, it turned into what I found to be a pretty profound identity crisis. And I went from a very high ranking in the military, very successful, very driven, starting nonprofits, building communities, to moving away from everything I knew, all my friends, my family, and I was broke, without a job, without an identity, and I hated introducing myself. And so I think that was the biggest shift for me. Yes, I've been in a wheelchair, I've survived cancer, I've survived a lot of different things, but this was the most profound where I really lost who I was. And it was a gut check. And I had to literally pick up the pieces, and in stress and overwhelm and just depression, I lost myself, and I had to really rebuild. And so I found a woman on LinkedIn who loved to help transitioning veterans. And she said, "Hey, I want to help the next 5 people that are transitioning, find their purpose after their mission, after their service." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that's me." So I literally like poured my whole heart and soul out to her. And she's like, "I want to help you." So she gifted me a couple coaching sessions, which was beautiful. And she asked me some really powerful questions. And she's like, "Well, what have you been through? What can you do to help continue your purpose? Because it sounds like you're really purpose driven, not necessarily money driven." So I had to ask myself some powerful questions like, okay, if I want to make a living, how can I still make impact? Right. And so that's always been a question. And so, wellness, fitness, community, mindfulness, confidence, all of that was part of my stepping stones. And so I'm like, yeah, I can use this, I can put it together and help people. And so I started an online fitness business in 2017. It was before COVID, before Zoom. And then I started a consulting firm as well, because I loved working in corporate settings and team building, and all my certifications through my military role as a diversity and inclusion consultant. Just kind of put it all together and design these beautiful courses, these retreats, these workshops, and I've been growing that global brand ever since. And so COVID really took off with both my fitness and the consulting firm. And so many coaches and many people and even family are like, "Can't you pick one or the other?" And I stood in both lanes. And I've been able to have a beautiful marriage of both of them, to be able to design a beautiful business that I love the health and wellness space. I love the leadership space, and I love community and traveling. And so I think that's been really profound, to really listen in and tune in to what I really wanted for my life and how I wanted to create impact. And then the how and the money followed afterwards. And I think that was the biggest shift for me.
What I really hear though is you went through this is who I was, and giving it up for valid reasons, and then suddenly that's not you anymore, and what are you instead, right? That identity crisis, as we call it, is really quite profound, whether it's because of family and kids, whether it's because of the health challenges or the world's shifting and resetting. It happens to many of us. And like, I'm 47 in a few weeks' time. My 20-year-old would go, "What's going on? It's not the same thing at all," right? Like, who we are changes. And I love that you reached out to somebody, you had some help from somebody, and it got you on this sort of new journey. I love that. And you touched on it a little bit, right? There are these 3 aspects, I think, of pausing, and then you go back to it, taking a complete stop, and the reset, a brand new game. Which of those do you find hardest, and why?
Hardest, I think it's the stopping. I think a lot of times we judge ourselves because we've committed so much time and energy and investment, or, if you think of as a young person, those of us that go to college, right? You choose a career path that you've never had experience with. You're like, "I think I'll do that. And let's go to college for 4 years to study that." And then you get into it and you're like, "I hate this." Or you get into a marriage and you have children because it's like, "This is what I'm supposed to do." And then you get into it and you're like, "I hate this." Or you start a business and it's like, "I hate this." And stopping something when you've invested so much time and energy and money and resources, I think is kind of the hardest, humbling part, is to say, "You know what? I think I need to pop. I need to stop doing something because it no longer serves me." And really saying no to the things that don't serve us so that we can make more room for the ones that do. I think that's the hardest part, because we hold on to that comfort. We hold on to everything that we've worked so hard for, because like pressure. Maybe it's your finances, maybe it's society, maybe it's your family, maybe it's your lineage of traditions that, forces you to do a certain thing in a certain way. And quite honestly, for me, being in the military for 22 years, wearing a uniform and showing up and having so many rules and structure, I knew I needed it as a young person, but I am literally trying to defy all the rules. I'm like a rebel with a cause now, to really just say, you know what do I truly want? And sometimes stopping something, and like I literally ended my marriage and I moved to the beaches of Puerto Rico with 10 suitcases. I literally sold everything I owned and just literally said, this is not serving me and I'm ready for the next step. And that, my friends, is probably the hardest for me. The pause and the reset, I feel I'm pretty good at. Slowing down for me used to be swear words. And now I'm really recognizing to stop and smell the roses, and mindfulness and meditation and calming my nervous system. And healing has been really a full-time job for me, especially in the last year. And so that pause allows the reset, but I think it's the stopping that really is my challenge. And then I think a lot of people struggle with that too. Just my thoughts.
No, they do. And obviously part of the power of you is you go, I'm doing it. One of our conversations, I sat there going, did you really say that? One of your marathons? And they're like, you need to stop or you could die. And you're like, nope, I'm doing it. It's like,
Uh-huh.
that's I think I love that you're aware of that factor. Like if you're going to go up that mountainside, you're going to keep going. And there is that bit with the military and in entrepreneurship and business of whatever it takes, right? But sometimes it's going, guys, this is the wrong wall to bash your head onto. Like it's time to stop. And it doesn't mean you can't restart it again. It doesn't mean you can't go, let's try a new approach, but really to take all the emotion out, that sunk cost fallacy stuff we talk about. No, I love that. It's really, really, really important. And I think for many of us, COVID was the big reset button, right? It was, no, you can't do that. You have to stop doing that. And it was a hard stop. But I don't know about you, it feels like the world's gone back to how it was before. Like they've forgotten that sort of weird period of life, sort of it's gone away now and we're back in. No, really, really useful to have those insights. And that sort of segues quite nicely. What are some of the most important lessons you wish you could give your younger you? Like when you were 8, 9, 10 years old, what do you wish you could tell her?
Ooh, don't dim your light. I grew up as a dancer, and a performer, and I just loved to dance and just express myself. And I didn't always have a voice, right? And so I think early on, I wish I would have had more opportunities to use my voice and stand up for myself, and not perform and be perfect all the time. And so I think that would be is like, don't dull your light, don't dull your sparkle, show up, be your amazing self, no matter what. And that would be number one. Um, I can't really think of another one right now. Don't stop dancing. I know you're a dancer too. Like, don't stop dancing and doing the things that really light you on fire. I think that's when, because a lot of clients that I work with, they're former athletes or they used to dance and they're like, I used to do that. And I don't know why I don't anymore. And I think we lose that fun, that 8-year-old, like vibrant, like curious, fun, energetic, just carefree part of us that really still lives inside of us. And we're all just a bunch of big kids. So as I look back at the younger version of me, and I just rescued a baby kitten, and his name is Diego, and he's just, oh, he's looking at me. He literally teaches me like the curiosity and the fun and the playfulness that we all just like really crave. And I think somewhere along the line, we just work our way and muscle our way and focus our way, and we just shut parts of ourselves off that just really we just want to thrive and feel alive and have fun. And so that's what I would say is don't stop having fun and laughing and exploring. And there's a big world out there. I know the best thing I could have done was moved away. I know it was the most challenging time in my life, but it was the very thing that I needed because I probably wouldn't have left my small hometown. I literally grew up on an island, 6 square miles where you couldn't buy socks. And like, I wasn't allowed to leave the island. I grew up pretty strict. And so, like, I, I had to take the bus to school. I couldn't leave the island. I couldn't drive with other people. And because, it was just a big world out there. And I think getting out and exploring the world and traveling and seeing and experiencing different things, I think that's what we're meant to do. This we're humans, and it's energy that is meant to just explore and have fun. So I don't know, I could talk for hours about that, because just travel, and I think that's what makes me come alive here, and what I like to call my peace palace here in Puerto Rico. And just I got lost. I know we talked the other day. I got lost in the jungle. I tried to have a conversation, but I'm like, it's a grid right now. And it was the best thing ever. I just literally, everything died. My phone died. My watch died. And I'm like, I'm out in the jungle, just on an adventure, and I'm safe. I'm going to be okay. And there's nothing else that I need. And that's fun. So I would say, don't lose that sparkle and that shine and that adventure.
Very, very wise words. I think especially here in the UK, it's encouraged to be quiet. That sort of tall poppy syndrome. It's changed. The world of the Instagram and the YouTubes, right? So there is this aspect of sharing, but generally we're encouraged to be kind of like normal and not rock the boat too much. Or everything becomes very serious. So that thing about the fun factor, when you first start dancing, going to salsa lessons, wherever it is, it's fun. 5, 10 years in, it's serious. This is now the business side, and you're teaching, and it's like, it's really fascinating. I've been talking about Tai Chi quite a lot lately. I miss Catherine, my old teacher. We'd just go around to her house and we'd just do Tai Chi in the back garden. Well, having become an instructor 20 odd years ago, it changes the tone. It isn't quite that fun playfulness that we first had. And trying to find people that you can do that with, where it isn't about the money in the business. And I do think somehow this navigation of a world where there was no social media to everything social media, and how do you navigate between the two? One of our friends, Christy, she has a phrase, no GoPro. It's like, right, we've taken the photos, camera's away now, let's just be present. And it's like camera mode, not camera mode. And it's so hard to navigate that. And so easy as well, right? Just to put the phone away and be fully present with the sunrise, the sunset, the jungle, and be in the jungle, not looking at a phone, looking at the jungle. I do think you're in a fun way, kind of good crazy for doing the running you do by yourself. We recommend people know where you're going, which 20 odd miles, 19 miles, prepping for your next marathon in Tokyo. I love that you're doing all that and having some fun in the process. And fun, I think, is definitely part of the mix. Terry Stout, our friend, he talks about that sort of monkey heart. You want to have some life and mischief while also being a lovely human being, right? Because otherwise it's robot time, and that isn't really, I think, the whole goal. I like that. So I talk a lot about, and I find fun in books and movies. Definitely as a kid, I read more. As I've grown older. I watch a lot of movies and get inspiration from them. What are the books and movies that have helped you sort of pause, stop, reset, or were there as your treasures to dig into?
So the first book that comes to mind, there's two that come to mind, is High Performance Habits by Brendon Burchard, and Atomic Habits by James Clear. And I think those two, habits and high performance has been my world. And trying to be more efficient and enjoy and live each day has really been one of the keys to unlock, right? It's like when you study high performers, you study people that are most successful, they got their habits down, they have the balance down. And so really honing in on that. And my mom always kind of makes fun of me, not makes fun of me, but we joke about it, because I used to make fun of her because she used to journal every day. She used to have her green juice. She had her system, she had her rhythm, she had her habits, and she still does to this day. And my first book was a planner, a 90-day action plan to embrace chaos and live a fulfilling life, because I needed a system to be able to follow. And so I think when we want something, you talk about the Instagram, right? We talk about people that are very successful. I think if we really study what they do. And when I started leaning into that, I'm like, okay, well, my brain works that way. Why are we resisting the one thing, right? That having a good system of efficiencies, and that might mean asking for help, having a team, which I've been able to evolve over time. And so, like, I think that really was the key indicator of like high performance habits of how we can be more efficient with our brain, our nervous system, and our strengths and our gifts to really tap into that highest optimal performance. And obviously, through my journey of being an NFL cheerleader, like they taught us to have etiquette and, have speeches and show up, but they didn't always teach us about the burnout, right? What it means to be overwhelmed and burnt out and stressed and emotional eating and because like that balance piece was not part of the wellness journey 20 years ago. Like that really wasn't popular, nor was mental health, right? So I think determining what this full balance and being able to optimize our health, mind, body, and spirit, I think those are the key indicators, the habits that we want to hone in on. And it's not like being, you know, I think we've had this conversation before, is like, I don't want a lot of people to just be like me, and I don't want to be like everyone else. Who we follow, we admire those things, and those are habits, right? Those things, those attributes, those characteristics. But that gap between where we are and where we want to go might not be our gift. And so I think just organizing your strategies, your gifts, your day, and where you shine the best, and being able to really capitalize on that has been, I think, the biggest gift for me, is to really tap into my identity, my personality style, my human design, the way that I show up powerfully on camera. And people on my team, they're not replicas of me. They are like a beautiful orchestra. And shout out to my incredible dream team. Like they are pieces of the puzzle. They're not replicas of me. We don't have a bunch of little crystals running around running my company. It's everyone trying to find their place in the beautiful space of the dream team and orchestrating their own habits. Some people start their day at 10. Some people start their day at noon. And so I think really getting into your design and your makeup, your communication style, your love language, your habits, and your own way to optimize, and then we bring that together. I think that has been the biggest key for me.
I love it. And I love that you got that from Brendan. It's interesting that you sort of didn't get that from the military training. Sort of you did, but different. And you touched on it with the NFL cheerleader stuff, which I appreciate was part of your interesting mix of things you've been through. On the surface, it's all just fun and dancing. Behind the scenes, rehearsing, stressing, elite health stuff. There's lots of work. And ironically, many people in that world get serious injuries. I had ballerinas, I had special forces people. One of them literally passed selection with a broken leg. Like, it's great, but he's like, you kept going past the bit when your body was saying stop. This is not good. And it happens. I did martial arts at a high level. A number of people at those levels that break bones and have injuries, and it's challenging. And do you think that's changed? Do you think there's always a nature of, you're off to do Tokyo shortly and then another marathon? Appreciate the original story was they ran and then the guy dies. This is not a good this is the goal. Like, no, we want to be different. And obviously what's possible with running and marathons have changed. Do you think we'll get to a stage where you can be performing at elite level without having the challenges? Or the nature of it is there'll be challenges and how do you deal with them?
Yeah, I think it's the latter. I think embracing the challenges and knowing that life is a marathon and there's mile markers and we have to train for it and we have to be ready, right? This will be my 27th marathon. I've run a 50-mile race before. It takes intense training, right? And so I think recognizing that there will be obstacles, and in our success path, in our marathon of whether it's in business or in your relationships, in your marriage, with your children, in your fitness journey, there's going to be obstacles. There's going to be checkpoints. There's going to be seasons. And the more that we endure and embrace those seasons, and we can control only what we can control and be prepared for life, like in the military, we always would say fit to fight, right? We have to be fit to fight 24/7, like ready to go. Or if we were going to be on the front lines, if we were going to be, deployed at any given time, that's what we trained for. We were constantly fit to fight. So many times when people leave the military, they're like, well, I don't want to be on call. I don't want to be fit to fight all the time. I want to relax. And it's in that relaxed state. It's in that, like, I'm not prepared, or I'll wait till, or maybe next time, or I just want to, skate through, or I just want to, pumpkin spice lattes and be under my blankets and watch Netflix. It's when injury strikes, when illness strikes, and then it takes 10 times harder to come back out of it. So my role, my whole adult life really has been fit to fight. And as an NFL cheerleader, I was in a toxic, physically abusive relationship at the same time. So I was burnt out. I was going to school full time, working part time in a toxic relationship. And it's no wonder why I ended up in a wheelchair. I literally was diagnosed with a really rare form of rheumatoid arthritis, and I spent 6 months in a wheelchair while they tried to figure out what was wrong with me. My body said, stop. It said, no, we're not going to take it anymore. And so what happens in those times is, if your mental health and your nutrition and everything else, if your physical being is not being ripped from you, and I've had it happen a couple times, what else do you have in check, in balance, so that you can embrace and endure the life stressors and pressures, right? So whether it be an illness, a diagnosis, an injury, pregnancy, there's many things that happens in our body that can derail us. And so I know I'm kind of getting off on a tangent, but I think this is powerful in the space of when we are there for the long haul. Having that holistic approach is not just physical, it's your mental, and it's the community that you're a part of that can help you bounce back quicker and endure the marathon of the bumps and bruises along the way, right? And so controlling what you can control. And so I know a lot of people, in a lot of my clients, they might have an injury, like they might sprain an ankle, and they're like, oh, my life is over, I can't do anything, I might as well just sit on the couch and just eat. And and it's just an emotional hijack, where I always work with them, like, what can we do to continue movement, with what you've got, modify, and let's hone in on your mental well-being, your nutrition, your hydration, and everything else that you can control, so we can endure any challenge that comes our way. So I think there's that piece of, we tend to catastrophize when there's struggle, and we're like, no, we can't, we're not moving forward, right? It's like, how can we just navigate? And I think a lot of times people's nervous systems and trauma response, we go to these extreme highs and then we go to these extreme lows. And what I found in life is that navigating my nervous system and being able to self-regulate, that's why I love studying emotional intelligence and the brain and human behavior, is like to really regulate, to not be in these extreme highs and these extreme lows, because that's exhausting to our body. And really trying to ride the wave. And I always say, like, be like a swan, like pick a bird or something along the lake. And if you were to close your eyes and imagine, like, I just imagine, because I love, like, the femininity and the beauty of a white swan just gliding across the lake. And it's just like this sheen, like, beautiful space. And there's like trees around and the light is shining through. And she's just like, oh. And I think in life and in business, we're going to have these, like, it's going to feel like a monsoon. We have like waves crashing, and we have to be able to regulate and stay grounded, so we're not like being taken over by the storms, and we can endure the marathon, or, the Titanic, if you will. I know there's kind of fun analogies in there, but I think we need to embrace it and know when to pause, how to really take care of our own internal well-being, and know our own system. Um, and it takes time, and it takes challenges to be able to learn that. And I've had a lot of challenges to be able to learn the right system and the right approach for me that works for me. And my system might not work for everyone else, and it might not work for you. But in the absence of nothing, study the habits of the people that have gone through the things and done the things. Like, don't try to reinvent the wheel and do it all on your own, because that's when we're like, Annie.
You covered a lot of ground there. One of the questions I like to ask is, like, when you go through one of your biggest challenges, whether it was the wheelchair moment or the other things you've touched on, what helped you go through it? Like you alluded to, you've learned you have to have a crew. We talk about the sort of the fun with your name, right? But having a team of people, having a crew is really important in your approach now. But when you went through it yourself, what got you through? What helped you navigate the challenges?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing is really looking in the mirror and searching within. I think I was escaping a lot uh, through travel, through busyness of work, through accomplishments, more awards, more things, more doing, more accolades. That really drove me in the beginning. And it wasn't, and I felt very alone. And I didn't feel like I had a voice because I was a performer, right? And so that was the biggest missing link for me, is to really look in the mirror and say, like, because people were like, you need to slow down. Why do you run so much? Your knees are going to hurt. And, there was a year that I ran 7 marathons in a year, and I was the most unfulfilled and depressed and lonely. And I'm looking down at my medals. I'm like, why am I not proud of this? It was because I was doing it alone. And I wasn't sharing the journey. I was only sharing the highlight reel. I was only sharing the accomplishment because I thought that that's what people wanted to see. But then what I realized is that one of my biggest values is connection, and deep, meaningful connection. And I was just collecting things and like surface level stuff for so long. And I think a lot of that was conditioning. And, the people that I surrounded myself around were very materialistic and surface. And it just, those were the partnerships and the friendships that I chose. Right. And so it just kind of like lended this space of surface. And I was always craving more in it. And I was like, why do I run? Why am I so unhappy? And I really had to look myself in the mirror and say, okay, well, what is it that I really value and want? And if I want deeper connection, how am I going to be able to connect? And how can I be more authentic? And how can I start to share more of the stories? And I always would be like, spend 5 minutes with me. You'll know I'm actually a real human, like, that has feelings. And I'm not just like this pretty dancer, cheerleader, runner girl, right? There's a lot of depth to me. And I just felt unseen and unheard for so long that I'm just like, I need to share this. I have thoughts. I am worthy of sharing my message and sharing the things that I've been through so I can connect and help others. And that, my friend, was like really the biggest pivotal moment where I was like, I crave connection. I don't want to just collect people and community. I want depth. I want a breath of fresh air to just have this dance, not only with a ton of people, but with just the depth of the heart and the mind and the body connection. I think that was the pivotal point. And then I just started sharing and connecting and helping. And it has just been a beautiful gift to really be on a better journey, to share it with other people and not feel so alone.
No, I get that. And I get, once you sort of pivot from what can I get to how can I help others that are going through it, that sort of switches your mindset. And it sounds like you went deep into sort of your beliefs, your reading, and just you're a researcher, I think, as well, digging into things that sort of could help you through it.
Yeah, I think for me, I needed a system. Like, my brain works in like strategic, processes and like easy acronyms and systems, right? So I created the freedom formula. So it's 5 C's. So I know yourself to the core, be confident in pursuit of what sets your soul on fire, be consistent, have the community in the right circle, and then celebrate. So though that was kind of like what I needed to follow, I needed some tools that I kind of like collected. And so that was the system that I used. And that's what I teach, is just, hey, like, you got to reset, get back to basics and your values, develop a set of goals and milestones, and figure out who you need to become and the habits that you need to work towards, and who you need to study, who needs to be in that corner. How do we consistently show up and have community, and then celebrate and honor the hard work that you are doing? And so that was really the system that I just kind of rinsed and repeated over and over. And I'm like, this is what got me here. So this is what perhaps can help you get there too. And every single time I had a struggle, every single time I had an identity crisis, every single time I had conflict, I went back to this same model. And it seems basic, but everyone always reaches for everything else. And it's like, it's all within us. And so that just breeds a level of confidence to be able to say, you know what, you have what it takes. You have everything within you. You just have to look in the mirror and roll up your sleeves and be willing to work each and every day. So, that was kind of an easy system for me to just follow. And so I trust in that whenever life gets thrown, because it's going to happen.
Yeah, but you've built a system that works for you and you can follow it. And that's great, right? That's a good thing. I mean, you may have well cover this, but, we like the sort of the water cooler moment. What's a takeaway you'd love somebody to have got from listening to you today? And you may have already shared it. Like, what's something you wish, like, they go, I really love that she shared that. What's the one thing you want them left with?
So I'd be remiss if I didn't share the 34-minute mindset, because I think that is just the simplest way to honor your day and honor yourself throughout the day in 34 minutes. So take 2 minutes every single morning. Start with gratitude. Don't check your email. Don't check your messages. Don't respond and react to other people's priorities. Start with you. And if it's prayer, if it's your universe, whatever, affirmations, start with your own gratitude and goal setting and intentions. So 2 minutes, start that, map it out, and then take 30 minutes each day. Move your body. It will change the chemicals in your brain. So if you take 30 minutes of movement, no matter what, each day, and then 2 minutes at the end of every single day, honoring, celebrating, figuring out what emotions came up, what got in the way, what can you do differently, and really just have that self-reflection and that feedback loop each day to sink in and be present in today. So we're not so in regretville of what used to happen and what everyone else is doing, and then so far in the future of like, oh, I'm not there yet. Stay present in today for at least 34 minutes a day, and it will change your life. I promise you.
Very good. So 2 minutes wake up, 30 minutes moving, and then 2 minutes reflecting. I like that. Very clear. Very clear.
Crystal clear.
There we go. The puns are coming fast now. It's fun. We're going to be wrapping up in just a minute. And I appreciate what you shared, and behind the sort of words, you get a sense of what's driving you, right? The challenges you've been through and the drive you've got to really do stuff for yourself and help others do that. Are there any people you'd love to sort of have listen to their answers to these questions? Like, are there any guests that maybe Brendan Bouchard, is there anybody that you'd love to sort of get to know a bit better?
Oh my gosh, I would love to meet Brendan. Actually, Brendan is the one. This is a really powerful moment too, right? I started listening and learning from him. I've never met him in person, but he moved his family to Puerto Rico. So that was the first, I had a dream to live 10 steps from the ocean. I didn't know which ocean, I didn't know which beach. And sometimes when we follow people that have what we want, he gave me permission that this is a way of living. You can live in the Caribbean and go after your dreams and goals, right? And so he gave me permission and hope for what could be possible to align my dreams and goals to go after what I wanted to. So yeah, he'd be one. Another one of my biggest mentors, he's a self-worth coach, is Trent Shelton. He's also an NFL alumni. So definitely one of my biggest mentors, and followed his work. And I got to meet him back in 2023 in New York City. So that was really powerful. And so obviously meeting you, Simon, the strategic alchemist, and just being a part of your world, you never know what's possible. I think the depth of our conversations and our friendship and our partnership here in business and in life, I think is just so beautiful. So it doesn't have to be the most elite athlete or, the most popular, best-selling author on the internet that can change your life. And so Yes, I would love to meet Oprah. I would love to, that would be great. Elena Cardone. I love the 10X that has been a huge part of my life. But I'm not, people see me as kind of a celebrity, and I have been a local celebrity in a sense, being an NFL cheerleader, but people are awestruck when they see me, and I'm just like, I'm just a human. I put my pants on, I went to the bathroom this morning too, just like you did. And so I don't really get starstruck. I just want to connect with people that are doing the things that light them on fire, and they're true, they're authentic, they're living in integrity and alignment and soul purpose. Like, those are my people. So if you're one of those people, and I don't care if you've been an author or a speaker or you've been on a stage, or if you want to create impact and you want to change the world and help people live happier and healthier and live their best life, let's thrive together. Like, let's chat. So that's all I'll say.
No, I love that. And yeah, no, some fun names there that we may bump into. Sometimes it's the unexpected chance happenings. And you never know, 20 years later, where they end up. Sometimes the White House, sometimes television. It's a small world. And it's sometimes the people that aren't that well known that make the biggest impact. That simple smile. You did it to me on a beach in Barbados. You went, how are you doing? And I was like, yeah, no, how are you really doing? And that was sort of a whole conversation. And it was like, okay, someone's actually awake and having a real conversation, real connection. For people who want to learn more about what you do, you've got retreats going on, other things. What's the main website they can go to find out more about what you're up to and connect with you?
Yeah, KrystaloreCrews.com is my website, my main website. It's KrystaloreCrews, KrystaloreCrews.com. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Those are my top 3 platforms. And, I do offer free acceleration calls. So 15 minutes, we can just chat, have a quick coffee chat on Zoom. It's KrystaloreCrews.com/book. Love to connect and just see how we can support each other.
Yeah, and you're often doing stuff on Facebook as well and other platforms, getting them up in the morning, moving, other bits and pieces. I think it's what's fascinating. There's the world of sort of like the fitness coach. You've done modeling, and that's that world of like being out there. And then there's this sort of advising government, sort of national security stuff, right? It's the interesting sides. You never get to know who people are.
That's right. We don't judge a book by its cover too, right? Because you never know. And you never know who you're talking to. You never know what they've been through. And I think what happens when we assume, right? And that's been my world, is like, I've been defying people's biases and people's perceptions of what they think I am. And I love when the light bulb goes off and they're like, you did what? And you can do that too. And the biggest question people ask is like, what don't you do? And I just love answering that question. And it's volleyball, because I'm 4'11 3/4, small human, but I've pretty much tried everything else. And so it's just fun to get to know people, and to your, how we met, Simon, in the ocean, on the beach in Barbados, asking that question, like, really, how are you? And be willing to receive that answer and be vulnerable and just share that and spend the time. So I always say, just spend 5 minutes, get to know people, not what they do, not what they can do for you, not how much money they make, not what kind of car they drive. Side note, I have a 1999 Nissan minivan. I used to have my dream car. I got rid of that. Like, it's not important anymore. It's how can we connect?
Yeah. And you've got Tokyo coming up, hopefully the London Marathon, and then you'll be one of the 8,000 people that have done these 6 marathons. So if you get a chance to support her on that journey, please do. And final sort of words for you to wrap up the show. If you have enjoyed it, do check out the websites, check out what we're doing. But yeah, any final thoughts before we wrap up the show today?
One thing, you get to design the life that you desire, and every single day is a blank page, is a new opportunity. And don't let other people's opinions, societal pressures, some other people's priorities and other people's schedules tell you how to live your life. You design the life that you desire. We get one shot at this. Just get after it. Go after it like your life depends on it, because it does.
I love it. Thank you for being on the show today. Thank you for listening, and hopefully got some inspiration to help you on your journey. You may not want to go run lots of marathons, but you can do the things that are fun for you. Keep moving, keep dancing, having some fun in the process, and those real connections. And I love that simple idea of the 34 minutes, that 2-minute wake up, the 30 minutes of movement, and the 2 minutes of reflection. Again, check out the website, KrystaloreCrews.com. And that was Pause, Start, Reset. And we'll see you next time. Bye for now. Once again, I'm Simon Hedley. Thank you for listening to this episode of Pause, Stop, Reset, which is brought to you by the team at simonx.com and published by thesimpleidea.com. So you get maximum value and to access all the bonuses and gifts, make sure to head to pause.reset.com, register and explore the portal. And if you're looking for great people, check out onesmartnetwork.com. If you've enjoyed the show, do give us a positive review, subscribe, and share this episode with friends. I can't wait to share our next episode with you. Till then, remember you can always choose to pause, stop, reset.